Welcome back to GG Weekend Watch, kindly sponsored by Bet.UK, and we are on to day 3 of the 2023 Cheltenham Festival, and we're going to begin with the Grade 1 Turners Novices Chase for 5 rods and over 2 mile 4 at 1:30. And we're still guessing again to an extent which horses are actually going to run in this particular race, but Mighty Potter has been a leading light for the Gordon Elliott yard for some while now and heads the betting in a bid to retain his unbeaten record over fences. But Andrew, does he win the Turners as well?
Very possibly, but that's covered in the price of around about 11 to 8 at the moment. He did have a bad experience at the festival last year when he hit the rail on the way to post and had to be pass fit by the vet. Was subsequently well beaten, but there's a slim chance that you might remember that, and something similar happens. But there's probably a very slim chance indeed. What is he won 7 of his 9 starts now, and the non-completion, say, behind Constitution Hill and the Supreme, of course, when he did have that problem on the way to the start. But you'd think after that impressive performance at the DRF that he will take all the beating. The obvious, each way alternative is not really an each way price now. 7 to 2 is Banbridge, who went into plenty in notebooks after that runner-up effort to El Fabiolo in the Irish Arkle, again at the DRF. Looking for all intents and purposes, though, he'd improved massively from returning to this sort of trip. And Balco Coastal as well, who chased home Jerry Colomb at Sandown last time. I mean, he jumps out to his left. He was kept wide that day to sort of get room in his races, as he had been when winning at Kempton, another right-handed track the time before. Going left-hand is going to bring about improvement. They've always said that he needs good to soft or quicker ground, ideally, as opposed to soft. So to keep one eye on the weather. But yeah, I mean, you give me a sort of 20 quid. I'll have a 5 each way on Balco Coast or a 5 each way on Banbridge. But I'd probably, after the race, be thinking, why didn't I just put 20 quid on the nose on the favourite?
Why did you just play it straightforward? We always ask ourselves that post-race, don't we? But at least at Balco Coastal, you talk about the ground. He will be on fresh ground on day 3. He's going to get the first run on the track as we switch from the old course to the new course for day 3 as well. So at least Balco Coastal will have fresh ground to go to war with. They're 16 to 1 currently. And we were talking about him before we press the record button. That's Nicky Henson yard, like him a lot. But who are you siding with in the Turners?
Yeah, he's obviously very interesting. He's definitely an each-way player for sure, especially when this cuts up. So he'll be a lot shorter on the day. I can see him at about 6 to 1 chance. But Mighty Potter for me, I'm willing to forgive the run in the Supreme. Obviously, he ran into a rail, as Andrew mentioned, and he got worked up. But he did jump and travel nicely. There was no issue sort of visually watching him on the track. I don't think the track will be a problem. Just hopefully he travels over okay. But I think he's a more mature horse this year, stronger mind on him. He jumps well. His jumping is improved in his last 2 starts. I thought he was electric in the final after jumping the last at the Dublin Racing Festival. I mean, it blew me away with how powerful he hit the line. I genuinely believe that it's Gold Cup contender next year. And he's already got the beating of his main market rival, in my opinion, in Banbridge. I just think they're just different class of horse, really. And I think he'll take all the beating.
Okay, then Mighty Potter. They have said that, haven't they? That he's potentially their Gold Cup horse then for next year. So you know that the Gordon Elliott, I think the absolute world of Mighty Potters hopefully get favourite backers off to a flyer on day 3. Now, it is the greatest race of the Cheltenham Festival up next, and I will not hear otherwise. It is the Pertemps Network final handicap hurdle, a premier handicap for 5 rods and over 3 miles at 2:10. Only superstar horses win this race, Daryl. So which superstar wins it this time around?
Well, there's a lot of talk about Shoot First being a next year's Stayers hurdle horse. He's obviously, I mean, I can't see how he's not well handicapped, in all honesty, on the basis of that run at Cheltenham back in October. I mean, there's a stat, I think, that no horses won this as prepped at Cheltenham or ran in the qualifier at Cheltenham for a long time. But he looks like a talented horse. Obviously, Charles Burns has put him away. I can see him going very, very close. I'll have to have a couple of quid saver on him. The one I wanted to be against was Percival Legoire, who won a very, very slowly race at the DRF last time and was very much favoured by his racing position. Maxxum is the other horse that I want to keep on side. This horse ran a brilliant time on his penultimate start when beating Eric Bloodaxe by 16 lengths. that he in comparison to Home by the Lee in the Grade 1, it was just a no contest. He was miles clear. There was talk about potentially going to the Stayers hurdle with him. Obviously, he's gone up a lot in the weight, so I'd completely forgive the run last time at the DRF. Nothing went right for him. He was caught on the inside rail, got no run at all. Horses coming back into his lap, etc. I would just write that off. He was just winning under hands and heels, wasn't given a hard time. Gordon Elliott didn't moan either about his mark of 145, which I thought was interesting. I think he's potentially a very good horse. So at 8-1, I think he's a knocking each way bet.
Cool. Each way play for Maxxum, then for Daryl. Andrew, who are you siding with?
I'll put up Mill Green, although I will need to do more work on this race, and maybe there will be a change to that in my column.
Andrew, how will you feel next year when Mill Green retires and you won't be able to put the horse up for each festival?
Yeah. He'll run as a 12-year-old. He wouldn't be the first 12-year-old to run well in this race. So I think Simon Doward, when he was short-headed at 50-1 as a 12-year-old, maybe even under top weight going, but he was third last year, 33-1, behind Third Wind and Ala Philippe, one of the favourites out there, the Fergal O'Brien runner. And I thought it was a good run. He looks to have been laid out for it again, because we didn't, after that last year, he went to Aintree, ran third to Party Business at 18-1. And he continues to sort of start at big prices because of his age, I think. People are sort of forgetting he's lightly raced. He's only had 21 runs despite being an 11-year-old. He's trained by Nicky Henderson. And he returned from a break of just over 10 months running at Haydock last time. He's gone off at 14-1. I think there was a little bit of late money for him from around about 20s. Paid to be up with the pace that day, as it often does at Haydock. The winner made All Johnson's Blue, the runner-up, the Changing Man, who was favourite. In Touch with Leaders, the fourth, one of the other favourites, was In Touch with Leaders. And he's reversed Aintree form with Party Business, doing best of the hold-up horses. Only beaten 7 lengths into third, 19 lengths clear of the next horse who was ridden patiently. I just thought that was a fantastic, trial offer. It will put him spot on for this race. He's run well in it before. He's a similar price to last year, around about 25-1 each way. If he can get enhanced places, I think he's going to be hard to keep out the first 5 or 6. So, Mill Green each way for me.
We go again with Mill Green. There's no doubting his Cheltenham Festival form, at least anyway. The fact he's here every single time. But yeah, an 11-year-old now, he does remain like your race 25-1. I'm beating your price, so mine's currently 33-1 for this race. Yeah, the Roger Fell trained, believe it or not, Coulter. Hopefully he will go here. And we know that obviously his trainer is far better known for his flat runners rather than his national humbles. But I just thought this horse is fascinating. The Nick Bradley Racing ownership, because Coulter, he's won 2 of his 8 hurdle starts. He's a 6-year-old gelding. He was previously trained by Dermot Weld, who got the horse those first 2 hurdle successes. He has festival form as well. He ran in the Fred Winter there a couple of years ago, and Coulter gained the qualification for the Pertemps final last time out. He reverted to obstacles to gain second at 40-1 in a Musborough handicap hurdle over 3 miles, and he just looked like he needed much further than that test even, which is exactly what he's going to get at Cheltenham. He's been given a £4 rise for that run. We've seen predominantly based flat flat trainers winning this race as far as last year with Hugh Morrison and Third Wind. So yeah, Coulter, I don't think can be underestimated with more to offer in this sphere. That 6-year-old in this race who caught my eye. So yeah, lots of ways to play the Pertemps, the greatest race of them all. But now this is a fascinating renewal of the Ryanair Chase for 5-year-olds and over 2 mile 4 at 250, a race that sort of needed some sort of star to really come along and stamp their credentials on the race after the dual defending champion Allaho was ruled out of the race. So step forward Shishkin, who has been a very short price favourite for this race since Ascot. But Andrew, does he simply boss the Ryanair as well?
Probably, if he repeats what he did last time. I wrote it, well, I wouldn't say wrote him off, but was happy just to watch last time out at Ascot. Certainly back something else against him. This race is sort of falling apart a bit now, hasn't it? It would be great if it was Allaho versus Shishkin, but we can't have everything. But yeah, I'm trying to find each way alternative to take him on with, and I'm struggling as well. I'm trying to find a definite runner, let alone a horse who could potentially win the race. I mean, Conflated, is he coming here instead of the Gold Cup? Do we know that?
Gold Cup.
No, Gold Cup. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because Conflated was the one I put up each way last year, and I needed him placed for a number of each way multiples, and because he was just going into second place when he fell behind Allaho, unfortunately. So I mean, Fury Road.
Yeah, he's here. I think he's the one that's conflated.
In the same Jigginstown, in the same ownership as Conflated, is probably going to be the one in terms of sort of consistent profile. You would imagine he's going to be hard to kick out of the three in a race that could cut up quite badly, I think. But Blue Lord wasn't quite so keen on, so I thought probably Shishkin's to lose and Fury Road the one for the forecast. But maybe I'll dig out 100 to 1 shot closer to the day, but no strong opinion.
Stay tuned for that then. Stay tuned for the 100 to 1 shot. Andrew's going to pull the rabbit out of a hat then for us nearer the time. But yeah, Fury Road, we're expecting a Gigginstown pair to come here and Conflated to go to the Gold Cup. So 8-1 about Fury Road at the minute. He's a horse that we're expecting to actually run in this race, Daryl, which seems to be counting for a lot.
Yeah, he's got no chance though, is he? I think Shishkin's a great price at 8 to 11. I don't know why he's not much shorter than that in here. Obviously, he bounced back last time at Ascot. That was very, very impressive. Obviously, those issues are behind him. I think he can forgive those runs. Obviously, in the Champion Chase last year, he obviously had that issue. And then he just needed the run at Sandown in the Tingle Creek. And he's stepping up and trip. He's open to improvement. He's lightly raced. He's clearly the best horse in the race by a country mile. I think instead of sort of finding each way angle, well, if you're going to play each way angles, I would do it now before the race does really cut up, like Janadil or Envoy Allen maybe. Both got good pieces of course form, but I think Shishkin's a winner in waiting.
And probably a fair price to go with it as well.
Very fair price.
About Shishkin. Yeah, exactly. Like I say, with the way that the race is going to cut up, that may look an even fairer price then nearing the time. Now we have another one of our 4 championship races. Yes, it still has that title. It's the Stayers Hurdle for 4-year-olds and over 3 miles at 3:30. And what a motley crew we have again this year, Daryl. So which of these characters wins what is a very open renewal of this race?
I don't know if he'll win it, but Sire de Berlais is 66 to 1 is insulting.
Oh. Yeah, 66.
I think it's absolutely insulting for a horse that won the Grade 1 last year at Aintree, beating Flooring Porter, obviously the Stayers Hurdle winner. I just ignore what he does in the winter. I says this every year. I think I'm a bit like, this is my Mill Green. This is, but just ignore what he does in the winter. He comes good in the spring. He's got a fabulous record at Cheltenham. You back him now. You can take a good few of these out of the market. Like nearly 9 of them in front of him. Like 66 to 1, it wouldn't be the biggest shock in the world to see him run on into a place. Whether he's quite good enough at the age of 11 to go and win it remains to be seen. But my God, it's so insulting to him. For a Grade 1 winner last year, I thought he caught the eye a little bit in the Boyne Hurdle, running well behind Blazing Khal. But spring is a time to catch him at these festivals. He loves Cheltenham. Got to have a good chance at 66 to 1. I think it's madness. But the other end of the market, I think Blazing Khal is the young up-and-comer. Obviously, the Boyne Hurdle stat is slightly worrying that no horse has doubled up in however many years. But I thought he improved significantly on his seasonal return. If he's fit and if he's well, I'm trying to shield all the noise about, for a yard like Charles Burns, who doesn't speak a lot, they've been speaking quite a lot lately. So I'm just hoping that he's A1 and he's okay. I think he's by far the most likely winner. He's improving. There's loads more to come from him. The meet and greet, who was second to him in the Boyne Hurdle, I think is a good form line into this. Ground will be no worries. I don't know what there's not to like about Blazing Khal.
Okay, then Blazing Khal, apart from say those weird whispers where we keep saying, well, he's just had this hold up, he's just had that hold up, and I think it's just the nature of the yard that he's come from that we're all like, oh, it kind of gets all of our backs up and puts us all on edge as soon as we hear anything remotely from that yard. Like I say, we don't hear from them, and when we do, we're a bit on edge about it. So yeah, so Blazing Khal though for the win, but I can give you 100 to 1 actually about Sire de Berlais in the hope that he does not hate life, which it has looked like on the last few starts. But when you say about his winter to spring form and the transition for the horse, then at that price, he is worth chancing, isn't he? For sure.
He will outrun those odds for sure.
Oh, I like it. For sure. I will take that. I will take that all day long. 100 to 1 for sure. Outrun the price inside of Berlais for Daryl. Right, Andrew, bullishness from you as well, please.
Yeah, I really like Home by the Lee here. Now, he ran in the race last year. So he went over fences. He won 3 times over fences, reverted to hurdles, finished second at 12 to 1, second at 80 to 1. And then he came to this race. It was 33 to 1. Got beaten 7 lengths into 6. I thought it was quite a taking effort. And then I wrote him up in my GG.CO.UK catches column after that, talked about progeny of the Sire, Fame and Glory, and how they tend to improve with age. and you could back all the 8-year-olds and make a profit. That still holds true this season. And of course, now there are some 9-year-olds running. They're also showing a profit to level stakes. So it seems as the Sire's progeny get older, they do tend to improve. And so, of course, what should I do with him this season? I should back him every time he runs. Did I? Heckers like. So I still don't know why. He's won at 28 to 1, having been 40 to 1 and bigger on his reappearance, beating Bob Ollinger. Next time out, he's proved that was no fluke with a win over Ashdale Bob, who's very consistent when racing left-handed. And I'm like, why have I not had a bet on this horse since writing him up last year? But he's an 8-year-old now. He's got more to come, and I think he's going to improve markedly on that 6th place last year. And he doesn't, and he has done so far. I mean, he recorded his career best RPR of 157 in the last year's race. They gave him 163 for that latest win. I think there's even more to come from Home by the Lee. I think he's going to take the beating here around about 6 or 7 to 1.
Oh, finally, someone that is just echoing all of my sentiments about this horse. I say about the Nails Constitution Hill, red for Home by the Lee, because I just don't understand what more this horse has to do to be challenging for favoritism. For me, he has the strongest form in this race from this season. And I know he isn't straightforward. He's a bit of a lethargic type. He's a bit backwards. He's got that, the white eyes, a bit starey. But I just think he is improving the whole while. And I mean, you talk about horses that aren't straightforward. Which of these horses in this race is straightforward? It's just the nature of the beast, isn't it? And he's beaten the reigning dual champion Flooring Porter twice already this season, winning the Christmas hurdle in such impressive style. And then that sets the benchmark of the season. But he proved at Navan that was no fluke either. And yes, as you say, he only finished 6th in the Sayers hurdle last season, but he's a much better horse nowadays. And connections have said that by the way that he shaped last time out, where JJ7, he kind of asked him to go, he was sort of doing his usual, kind of getting behind the bridle, and he asked him to quicken up to keep tabs and just shot off, and he hit the front probably a bit too soon as well. So I think even that just shows that he's a much sharper horse this year. Me and Fame and Glories, I'm not the biggest fans of them by any means, but at least it's over hurdles here, and they do cop on the older that they get. So I'm pleased that the trends back that up as well. So yeah, I just don't really know what I've been missing, why he hasn't been better backed in the market for the Stayers hurdle. So yeah, there he is for both of us too. Now we have the plate handicap chase up next. This is the premier handicap for 5 rods and over 2 mile 4 at 410. A very open race again, Andrew. So who wins it?
Yeah, a front runner. It's amazing how well front runners, prominent racers have done in this race over the years. You can look at a pace map beforehand and think they're going to go hard here. I'll look for a hold up horse, and something makes all, or sits in 2nd place throughout and stays there. So it's the kind of race that when I see the final declarations, I'll be having a really good look at and trying to predict who's going to lead. The one I do like at this stage is Stage Star, no pun intended, who when he won the Timeform Novices Handicap Chase on Trials Day, I did say that he's got a fantastic record below Grade 1 level. 7 runs, 6 wins and a second. He jumped extremely well that day, round the inside, beating That's All Right Gino. So that's a Class 2 Novices Handicap Chase. So I think if he stays in Handicap Chase Company, even though he's going to be probably carrying a lot of weight, I thought he'd have an obvious chance. So yeah, it's again another race I need to do more work on, but stick with those who are likely to be up in the pace.
So the pace angle is key then for the plate for Andrew. Daryl, are you also siding with the horse that's going to be ridden prominently?
Well, it's a bit tricky for me really, because I'm on So Scottish at 60. I tipped him at 16 to 1, and he's now
nice.
free. Yeah, he's now 3 to 1 favourite. So I've already sort of set my stall out on him, and I couldn't really, I suppose I couldn't really advise people to go back in again now at 3 to 1. But he's the type of horse that's only just going to shorten and shorten and shorten. I think he's well handicapped, especially if Michael O'Sullivan gets back on and claims another 5 off him. Like, he'll almost be impossible to beat, I think. The couple that I do like outside of him is Iridoto, who won at Cheltenham on Trials Day, and the same card as Stage Star. Actually, he would have beaten Stage Star by 13 lengths. They ran on the same course and distance, so it's a really impressive performance. He goes from the front. The cheek pieces have obviously helped him last time. He could have more to come. He's a horse with obviously plenty of promise. That's All Right Gino, who I liked because he came from the rear of the field in the Stage Star race, and again, Kempton was not right for him at all. He was jumping slightly out to the left. But this is definitely his trip, and he is improving. But I've just kind of got to stick with with So Scottish. Novices have got 62% stroke rate in handicap chase at the festival over the last 5 years. And So Scottish will do for me.
Yeah, and another one for JP has been splashing the cash, hasn't he? Was it Corbett's
Yeah.
Cross, So Scottish, the bumper horse we said about earlier on there as well. I mean, yeah, he
Put him
is
in an
just,
acca.
oh, shall we? Everything that JP has purchased. I mean, Impervious, can we put her in that as well then? Even though
Yeah.
she's, yeah. So goodness me, yeah, JP. I know that's fascinating to see the amount of horses he's bought then going into the festival. But no, you can still have So Scottish anyway. For all that, some of us missed those early prices all the same. Now we're on to the Jack de Bromhead Mares Novices Hurdle, a Grade 2 contest for 4-year-olds and over 2 mile 1 at 450, where, sound the alarm, we have a British favourite for a race in the form of Lucia. So Daryl, can Nicky Henson's there fly the Union Jack and bring us home a win?
more than likely. She's looked very, very impressive. I mean, you can crab her on the form, but she has done it very, very easily. I mean, she kicked some hurdles out of the way at Exeter, which is not ideal. Yeah, I don't think I don't love the price about this one, to be honest. She's still got a bit to prove for me. She does look very, very talented. I wouldn't be like eager to take her on, but Foxy Girl for Henry de Bromhead is a horse I like. A much bigger price. Really caught the eye when winning well at Limerick last time, being In Excess, who's come out and bolted up since and is rated, I think he's rated in the 140s, 142 maybe, or got an RPR of the 139. That's good enough. That's good. That'd be good enough to sort of win these sort of mares novice races. But that form has worked out really well, and I think this is a real improving horse. The jump from Berlais in the maiden to Limerick, I thought was quite significant, and I'd be surprised if she's out of the first 3. She's only a 5-year-old. She's improving, and she interests me the most. But I'm not eager to take on Lucia.
Yeah, but like I say, the price doesn't entice you to back her anyway at her current price. But Foxy Girl, 16 to 1 then for Henry de Bromhead now, that form boost, as Daryl said. Andrew, who's siding with?
Yeah, I thought this was perhaps deeper than the betting suggested. Look here is hard to crab apart from the price, really. I mean, Ashrow Diamonds won 3 of her 4 starts in Mares Only Company, the shortest of the Mullins runners. The only defeat was when she was 4th, beaten half a length in total, when 16 to 1 for a Grade 2 bumper at Leopardstown. So she's sort of 3 wins, a 3rd and a 4th when going left-handed. So that's another thing. She jumped out to a left when winning last time. So coming to Cheltenham's going to suit her, I think. And of course, the only time she ran outside of Ireland, she won an entry in the Grade 2 Mares bumper last season. Magical Zoe is another one who's interesting, 3 from 3, and when winning at 18 to 1 last time, ran very green but still managed to win. I thought there's going to be plenty more to come from Henry de Bromhead's mare. You Wear It Well is another interesting one as well, having won the same race at Sandown that Love Envoy won before coming on to Cheltenham Glory, and Jatara as well. Another one who's very consistent and seems likely to appreciate a big field and strong pace. So I thought there were plenty of each way alternatives. I'll go with You Wear It Well. Might be a little bit underrated, being another British trained runner, but it's a good race, this one.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, 11 to 1 though about You Wear It Well. Jamie Snowden's charge in that race. So again, thank you for the patriotism. We ever appreciate it. And then finally, Andrea, it feels like fitting that you should really be starting us off for our final race on this day, because you found the big prize winner of the Kim Muir last season. This is for amateur jockeys, a handicap chase for 5-year-olds and over 3 mile 2 at 5:30. So another big prize winner, please, that you can beat mine and Daryl's selection again.
Yeah, I'm not. Well, I wouldn't say not so confident, but I'm not so well prepared for the Kim Muir this time around. I mean, I did think Chambord last year's winner did show a little bit more when 4th at Exeter last time out, because when he was doing all his winning at this time last year, he did come from an impossible looking position once or twice, and there was a brief moment you thought, hang on a minute, he's about to take off. So he could actually go well despite being around about sort of 33 to 1 or bigger this time around. I thought Stumptown, was sold enough at the top of the market, and I'd probably have to sort of side with him if I was going to go for one at this stage. But yeah, it wasn't a race that I was sort of particularly keen. I'll probably end up putting 3 horses up for it next week. But yeah, certainly Stumptown. Don't rule out Chambord, and a night in Lambourne if the ground doesn't get too soft. And a Night in Lambourne was one that I tipped up for the Paddy Power meeting back in November. He'd been denied a hat-trick when second to Jimmy the Digger in an amateur riders race at the October meeting, where I think he got hit the front too soon basically that day, or had excuses. Certainly he stayed on really strongly when reversing the form and winning at the Cheltenham November meeting, but he is reliant on good ground. He's been rested since that win on the 12th of November. If he gets his ground, I thought a Night in Lambourne could go really well, but he's the kind of horse you don't want to be touching on soft ground, so wait and see. So yeah, Stumptown and Night in Lambourne, that's sort of the main two at the moment, with a sort of like a silly saver for old time's sake on Chambon.
Okay, for all time. So we've got room for a bit of sentiment in these races. Yeah, Night in Lambourne, they 16-1 for Ben Paul, who's sending a pretty strong team. One of the strongest he's ever sent them to the Cheltenham Festival this year around, but also with Stumptown currently the 4-1 favourite in his hat-trick bid for Andrew. Daryl, who are we both siding with finish second?
I have no strong opinion, really. I like Mr. Incredible. I've liked him for a long time. I thought he was a young horse, had the potential to be a graded horse. He's obviously got the ceiling top weight here of 12 stone, but I think he's progressive. He's with Willie Mullins now. I thought the run at Warwick was very eye-catching. He used to be a right nuisance, and now he seems to have straightened himself out. So the fact that I backed him quite heavily to beat Ahoy Senor last year at Newbury suggests I probably should be backing him in a handicap off 145. So I'll stay with Mr. Incredible.
He's one of those horses where you do have to follow him through that once he's let you down on an occasion like that, like say off of that mark. He's going to come good again at some point. You don't want to miss him on that basis. I thought, obviously, when I was looking at this race to start with, there was a whole load of crossover between the Ultima horses and the Kim Muir horses. For the Ultima, I had originally cited Dunboy, who doesn't run in the Ultima now, so cue him going in here when I'm going to be siding against him in the Kim Muir, because the horse for me, who I'm pleased, the more entries we go through, the more he's been called out of them. So I'm hoping Ironbridge does go here for John Joe O'Neill. And this 7-year-old, he did have 4 Cheltenham entries. He was in the Ultima, the National Hunt Chase, the Brown Advisory, and the Kim Muir. He's now just in the Brown Advisory and the Kim Muir. And it may well be ground conditions that dictate it for him as much as anything else, because his trainer has previously said that he's a big chasing type. He wants softer ground, which he'll hopefully get on the final race on the Thursday. So both Andrew and I are in differing opinions on how we hope the ground is going to play out for this day. But Ironbridge, he's just had the 4 starts over fences, and one of those was a match where he finished alone after his only rival pulled up at about the halfway stage lane. And he lacks experience, but is a horse with plenty more to offer off of this marker 137. And the same as a fair second last time out at Warwick, where the drop in trip just counted against him. And he looks to have a good staying handicap in him. So I'm hoping that this will be the one for Ironbridge, currently at a 16-1 shot. So Daryl, your nap for day 3, please.
Oh, you have actually caught me by surprise.
I literally, honestly, we even had viewers out there when we realized we even had this conversation before we started recording that I always catch Andrew on the hop for the nap, and now we played the full reversal and managed to catch Daryl by surprise. There you go, Daryl. I bought you enough time to find one.
I'm not a fan of putting up odds on shots, but Shishkin is as good an 8 to 11 shot as you'll see, I think. So yeah. Shishkin.
And you made the case of why he's value at that price anyway. So fair enough then for the Ryanair for Daryl. Andrew?
Home by the League.
Oh, that's where I was going. Why didn't I get there first? Like, I knew you were going to do that. Fine, I'm going to go too, because we've got 4 days, so we may as well side with the same horse on one of those days anyway. So yeah, I will also go Home by the League in their stayers hurdle. So that is all of our best bets for day 3. Stay tuned for our final day, day 4 up next.